Coaching in Session,
your exclusive destination for unparalleled personal and professional growth.
With your host, Michael Rearden.
Whether you choose to live within limits or break free, your mindset journey begins here.
This might seem so simple, but there are so many people in the world who fail to follow through with this simple logic. And this simple logic is to train yourself to get back up or train yourself to get up. I think of when people are thinking of this, they think of maybe not hitting the snooze button in the morning, training themselves to wake up in the morning with intention to win their mornings. We have episodes and blogs on that. The mornings can be a powerful thing, but they're not the only thing. Because what happened if you used your morning and you won, right? Every minute of the morning. And let's say the morning ends at 12, right? 12 p.m. So at 12 p.m., you just kind of hit a wall and you go on TikTok and you kind of waste your time all day. Can we truly say that we won? Of course, we can look at our morning and we can look at maybe how much money we made, how much difference we created. But the reality is the morning is one part of our day. Because what happened if I said in the morning, you're going to be A-okay, right? You're going to be positive on net flow and past 12 o'clock, and you're going to go right back to where you were at the end of the day. So that means your morning was for naught. But we are trying to win our mornings, right? We did so many good things in the morning, but now we're doing things that are detrimental for us. For example, maybe we go to the gym in the morning. Yeah, you went to the gym, but then you're eating cheeseburgers at 12 and eating pizza in the afternoon. You can't outwork a bad diet. So it's not only about training ourselves to get up in the morning and win our day. This is a mindset that many people are aware of, but are not stepping into, right? The morning is just one aspect. What happens if you fall down? Do you stay down? Most kids who fall down, they get back up. They're like, okay, maybe they cry, walk to mom or dad or something, or hobble over to mom or dad. One of the things my son does is he falls on the ground and he goes, help, help. He has his hand for me to help him up. The only time I will help him up is if he truly needs it, right? Like something happened and he needs me to pick him up. Other than that, if he's tossing himself on the floor and he needs help, I'm going to say, do it yourself. Get up. We have the power to do so, but many people don't tap into that power frequently. What would happen if we tapped into that power frequently? I can tell you right now, your whole life would change. And you might think, well, how would my life change? Well, training yourself to get up is a mindset. I think of 2016 when I wasn't doing this. I wasn't training myself to get up. I was doing everything I wasn't supposed to do, even though I knew better. I was following what society had for me rather than what I had for society. There's a different way of living in life when you want to live on purpose. I was choosing to live passively, but passive and me don't necessarily work. Now, there's things that I have on autopilot, but I'm not a passive person. I know what I want. I will do what I want. I'm not saying I'll get always what I want because that's not what life is. But the intention of me spending my time, my money, typically is on things that I want. Now, if an officer pulls me over or something like that to give me a ticket, is not necessarily something I want, but I have to pay the price for the actions that I have taken. This is not to say that you're going to get pulled over or you're going to go to the doctors and get a doctor's note, or you're going to get final 2 weeks at your work or whatever it be, right? We don't have to kind of think of the negative side in this aspect, but we can look at our parts of life or parts of life when we weren't showing up exactly. 2016 was that for me. In 2017, I said, I need to start to train myself to get back up because I fell down and I fell down hard. I'm sure I'll fall down hard again, but at least I know how that felt. At least I know what to do to get back up a lot sooner because I was getting kicked for months, maybe even close to a year. I said, I have to start to make some change. I have to do something different. And I did. The journey was the fun part. The challenging part was the commitment because I had to show up even when I didn't want to. I had to learn things that might have been difficult for me. I know I was talking to my wife the other day and she was like, oh, it's hard for people to lose weight or it's hard for people to change or something like that. I go, no, it's not. I said, if you want something in your life, it's a choice. This is a decision. You make a decision if you want something different. If you're getting crap right now, it is your choice to continue to get crap or to say, I don't want this crap anymore. It's a choice. Now, I'm not saying that you might want to live in a mansion and you want to drive fast cars and all of the, these nice lavish things, right? That's the lifestyle. If you want to one day purchase those things, it can become a choice, but you have to work your way there. You're not going to just magically say, all right, I have arrived. We have to climb first, because if you are at the rock bottom, if you're at the bottom of the barrel, there's some work that needs to be done. So when we train ourselves to get back up, I think of my motivational video series. It's called Motivation in Motion. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It is also on a podcast, so you can listen to its style from Spotify, from Apple, YouTube. I mean, it's the same places where Coaching in Session is. Now, Coaching in Session is a little bit different than Motivation in Motion. Coaching in Session is about around 30 minutes long for an episode, because you're getting a full coaching session, or basically half a coaching session. Basically, the half of the coaching session is just a topic aspect, but not including your whole aspect, right? So who you are as an individual is the other part of coaching, right? The 30 minutes. That's what creates the hour. I encourage people, like when you're trying to make some change, to try to get that whole hour in. So you can always reach out to us, revenconcepts.com, get yourself a consultation. You can get that 15 minutes for free, and then basically 15 minutes of whatever's going on, because I do let the coachee come on and kind of tell me everything that's going on. We figure out a game plan, and then they give the go ahead if they want it or if they don't want it. This is what happens in life, right? I talked about this aspect of there are two types of people in this world, right? People who want it and people who kind of want it. The people who kind of want it are going to naturally steer themselves away from waking up in the morning, or from showing up at work, or from coming home and being deliberate, or just being deliberate at all in their day. They're not training themselves to get back up. But if you train yourself to get back up, what would it look like? Well, step one can be anything that you want it to be, right? I'm going to give a couple of examples, and you can choose whatever your step one is, because you might say this is better for me, or this resonates more with me. Because if I tell you that you have to go to the gym, maybe you don't like the gym. I'm not saying you have to go to the gym, but guess what? Going to the gym gives you more energy. So at the end of the day, you're going to be able to get more things done because you have more energy, because right now you might not have enough. All right. Maybe you don't have enough money to pay your bills or something. If I gave you a little bit extra money, could you pay your bills? Right? Now let's think about that as energy. If I gave you a little bit more energy, could you accomplish your goals? This is the idea. This is the mindset, how we train ourselves to get back up. For me, the first step is we do need to increase our energy pool. Now, whatever that may be or how you do it is going to be dependent on you. Some people, they take supplements. Some people, they go to the gym. Some people are going to start to meal prep, and they are going to be intentional about what they put into their bodies. These things can be the inhibitors for something great to happen. Because, yeah, sure, you might not want to go to the gym. Yeah, sure, you might not want to eat healthy, like a salad or some chicken or some broccoli or something. But do you want more energy? Because if you don't want more energy, then maybe the idea of training yourself to get back up is not what you need right now. Maybe you need something else. Then we go into step two. I just believe you need energy in order to kind of keep on doing with what you need to do, right? The discipline aspect requires both physical, mental, everything within yourself to take action. Some people, they don't need the tellings of what they need to do first. Some people, they need, hey, I need something that's going to spark something within me, right? They need the tinder. They need the flint and the steel. They need the cotton balls with petroleum jelly. They need the fire starter kits or the fire starter wood. They need the propane tanks or whatever it be, the butane tanks when you go camping. All of these things are going to be fire starters in a sense, right? The lighter, the match, whatever it be, for you to light the way or for you to kind of ignite something within you. Now, this is what we do with motivation and motion. Basically, when you train yourself to get back up, one of the things I did it alongside going to the gym. But I was going to the gym before I started this. So that's why it's my step one. But I wasn't intentional when I was going to the gym. You know why? Because the gym was like 15 minutes away. My dog didn't like to be alone. And I was like, I'm in a new city and she's like freaking out. I'm like, this is just tough. But then I said, what? I have to be more intentional, right? There was no excuses. So I said, I'm going to go to the gym. It doesn't matter if it was 10 or 15 minutes away. It didn't matter. I didn't maybe have no money coming in. It didn't matter that I wasn't happy. It didn't matter that I was worried about my life or whatever. We can go down the list of maybe things that have been going on, was going on, or could be going on in someone's life. So when I decided, I was like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do this workout and I'm going to be deliberate. I'm going to do all the sets. I'm not going to just be passive. I'm not going to just go to the gym to say I went to the gym. So at that point, I said, okay, I'm going to start to do that. And I started to eat better, right? I started to meal prep. I started to weigh up my food, right? So I got some scales and I was like, okay, I'm going to weigh up my food and I'm going to test out, different foods. And I tried different foods and what worked and what didn't work. I will meal prep. And I would have like a month's worth of food in the freezer. So I didn't necessarily have any excuse or reason to go out and eat a fast food or to go out and to basically not cook because all the food that I had was basically ready for me. So there was no excuse. I eliminated the excuses. This is to say that I got rid of the excuses. Now, those excuses were not easy to kind of get rid of. I had to do some things. I have had some hypnotherapists on the podcast, and I didn't go for hypnotherapy, but I did do something very similar to it. There was a show growing up. It was like Dexter the Mad Scientist. It was a cartoon from Cartoon Network, and he was a scientist. And one time he wanted to learn French or something like that. This was something that people used to do. I'm not sure if they still do it, but it was a trend at some point where they would get tapes to learn a language and they would listen to the language while they went to sleep. I tried it, didn't work. I said, what? I'm going to start to do that. Basically, it became a mantra or an affirmation for me where I started to listen to motivational scripts, right? Motivational videos or audios. Most of the motivational stuff that I listened to, they had music in the background. I made a playlist. It's on Spotify to this day. It's called Wake Me Up. I haven't listened to that playlist in quite a while because I don't need it. But when I did need it, oh man, every single day, I listened to that and it became, in a sense, my direction, right? I began to train myself to get back up when I didn't want to. I began to train myself to get up and be deliberate in the mornings. I was waking up 4 a.m. to go to the gym. Did I have to wake up at 4 a.m? Probably not. I probably could have woke up at 7 and still try to, get most of the stuff done that I would have liked to get done. What I was starting to do was if I was rushing in the morning, it created a bad flow in my day. I just needed an abundance of time. So I also trained myself to get back up in the sense of reading, started to read more and become more deliberate in my education. Not so much to go to college again, but to say, let me read books of my interest or of my direction, because you might be someone who wants to start a business or day trade or to be a better parent, right? There's books for that. You don't have to just go off and say, okay, let me figure this out for myself. There are people who have already paved the way. When you can learn from wisdom, it can help and benefit you to be better and to do more in your day, right? So when you're training yourself to get back up, you're also moving yourself to do things quicker rather than at a more sluggish pace. Because we all know when it comes to the gym, right? You go to the gym, you're not seeing the results, you stop. People stop because they're not seeing the results after 3 months. It's not so much that they haven't trained themselves to get back up, right? In March or April, when people stop going to the gym, it's because they don't see the results, right? So when we're training our mind, it takes time to build that up. The same thing with the eyes. The eyes don't necessarily see things if they see them all the time, because the smallest change of something, right, is going to be marginal to the brain. But if you go away for a year, right, you go into the mountains and you say, okay, I'm going to focus for a year. I'm going to do a detox, a cleanse, whatever. I know people, they know about these juice cleanses or the fasting, or they talk about something new that came out a couple of years ago, but they talk about a technology cleanse or like a cell phone or social media cleanse, where they basically say no more of it, right? No more technology, no more cell phones. And when they are done with it, they feel so fresh and rejuvenated. I'm not saying that you need to get rid of your phone and say, okay, I'm going to go live like a hermit in a cabin and have no lights or electricity or maybe even running water. I'm not saying that we have to be barbarians again. I'm just saying we have to be more focused. So that focus might be different for each of you. One of the reasons why I love doing motivation and motion, and probably one of the reasons why I don't listen to Wake Me Up anymore, the playlist that I created is on Spotify, is because I have a motivational video series. We have 3 seasons that come out each year. So we start early January, sometimes late December. And that will be our first season. It goes on for about 3 months. And then we take a 1 month off. We do a promo to, of course, create some excitement, but then to also allow people to catch up on episodes, to rewind episodes during that time, then also for the brain to take a break. Because when you are giving yourself motivation every single day, it might be a good thing. But the problem with motivation is that motivation is temporary. If you do things because you're motivated to do them, it's very different than if you did things because you were disciplined to do it. It's not called discipline in motion, because if you are disciplined, you don't need to worry about always doing what you need to be disciplined to do. Motivation, on the other hand, is that connector. So sometimes we need some connection, right? We need to talk about different things. How we do it in motivation and motion is what I really like, is we put it in a way where we just give you little flakes of gold, right? We give you like little golden nuggets, and we basically say, if you listen to this, you don't have to listen to every episode, but if you listen to enough, you're going to start to train your mind to think in a more positive and a more optimistic way. Now, this optimism is going to lead for you to take some level of action in your life, because we don't only talk about what you need to do. We look at maybe where you are today. We accept that you might be hurt. We accept that you might be struggling. We accept that you might not be showing up. And I understand that's life. That is okay. It's okay to experience these things. But is it okay to stay there? If it is okay to stay there, how long is it okay to stay there? Because in 2016, as I was saying, I stayed there for a while, but I didn't stay there for long. Maybe, again, close to a year, 9 months. But did you reach that 9-month mark and not take action? Are you still in the same circumstance that you were 9 months ago? What are you doing differently? Are you changing your trajectory, or are you just allowing your course to careen downhill into the pits of despair and hell? I don't know, but you do if you are doing what you need to do. So this idea of training yourself to get back up is simple logic, but it is going to be something that might be extremely difficult for you in the beginning. What I would recommend before you get a trainer or you get a gym membership is to, be intentional about what you want to accomplish, what you want to do, right? And maybe write down a list of 50 things you want to do. It could be all the way to 100. And from there, I want you just to go to your priority things and maybe make the list 10 things, right? And from there, try to bring it down to 5 things. And from there, pick the top 3 things that would change your life the most. I'm not saying that the 100 things that you wrote down initially are all for naught. You can always work toward accomplishing those things. But if you cannot even train yourself to get up on the 3 most important things that will have the most influence on your life today, then why do you think doing all the 100 other things are going to make you or to change anything in your life, right? We get better because we do the things that are going to make us better. When you start running, for example, you might not like it. Your legs might hurt. Your body might hurt. You might be out of breath. You might be sweating. You might be uncomfortable. But down the road, you are going to get that cardiovascular movement that many people are not getting today because we live a very sedate life. But if we take action, right, we get up, we move. This is positive. If we get up and we cook rather than go out, that could be a positive thing. Of course, it depends on your lifestyle, right? What type of lifestyle do you want? What is your goal, right? We have to look at everything. It's not so much of, it would be nice to lose some weight. Why are we losing the weight? It would be nice to get a better job that pays more. Why do we need more money? Are we living beyond our current lifestyle? All of these things, all of these questions could be answered, but we have to be honest with ourselves. So training ourselves to get up is training ourselves to also look at every situation and probability that could be going on. Because the probability of you succeeding in life is 50-50. Now, if we start to kind of put luck into the mix, right? Maybe it's like 53-47 or something, because the odds of winning might be, slim to none, depending on the game. I think of the casinos. The casinos are rigged in a sense to make money. Even if they only make that, they have that 3% edge. It could be everything, because you're trying to make $1,500 out of $200, and they're trying to take your $200 and not give you anything for it. You could come out on the other end positive. There's many people who have lost millions of dollars, and then you can even look on the other side of people who have won millions of dollars. Sometimes you just have a night where you are just gambling, right? And gambling is not so much of you go to the casinos. I'm talking about your gambling in your life. You are taking a gamble. You are taking a risk, right? You not getting up is a gamble every single time. You not showing up is a gamble every single time. You not winning is a gamble every single time. So if we had to look at the alternative, what would be the solution? I said we need more energy. We can go to the gym. We can eat better. We can read more, do more to enhance our knowledge base, our education base, our wisdom base by mentors, coaches, whatever it be. But we're training ourselves to get back up. You can also listen to the podcast to get that boost of personal development that you're looking for. At the end of the day, just because you listen to the podcast doesn't mean you're going to implement change in your life. What is the one thing that you're going to do today that I've said? Are you going to write down your goals, your values? Are you going to be more deliberate? Are you going to maybe spark yourself with some motivation, emotion, and start to listen to maybe season 1, and you're going to say, I'm going to be deliberate and giving myself more motivation, because I understand that if I listen to something that's motivational enough, that's telling me to take action, that's telling me that I can do something, eventually my subconscious mind is going to believe it. Because your subconscious mind can be your enemy, but it can also be your friend. It can also be an asset. So we have to change the sides. We have to change the trend of the mind. If it's not helping you get up every single day and is keeping you down, we need to pivot. We need to shift it. How you do that is going to be entirely up to you. But what I will say that I'll put some links down in the description box below, and there are going to be some playlists that you can listen to. You can listen to Coaching in Session. You can listen to Motivation and Motion, or you can listen to any interview or guest episode that we have had in the past, and you can find out what you need. Everything is titled and everything has a descriptor. So you can come in and you can say, all right, this is what I'm looking for. I need to learn how to be less anxious. I need to learn how to be more optimistic. I need to learn how to maximize my energy. I need to learn how to be more deliberate. Right? Whatever you are lacking, we have the solution. So do the work, become deliberate, train yourself to get back up. So one day when you're at the top, you can look around and maybe even look down at all your accomplishments in your journey thus far.